Beekeeping for beginners looks peaceful, but my first hive was stressful and expensive because I didn't know these 10 things. I dug through my first year notes, every mistake and every cost, so before you spend $1 on gear, are you sure you even know the first step? Most people picture jars of golden honey on a windowsill and calm bees floating over flowers. That's part of it, but here's the problem. If you only chase that picture, you can end up with dead bees, wasted money, and a constant feeling of guilt that you forgot your hive again. So I want you to test yourself honestly as you listen. First, time. A single hive doesn't take hours every day, but it does need regular attention. In spring and early summer, you'll need to open the hive roughly every 7 to 10 days to check for eggs, brood, food, and swarm signs. Each visit might take 20 to 40 minutes once you're comfortable. That doesn't sound like much, but add it up over a season, plus reading, watching, and planning in the evenings, and you're looking at several hours a month, especially in your first year. Here's the problem this creates. If your life is already on fire, kids, job, travel, health, and you know you regularly ignore plants, pets, or projects, a hive will become one more thing silently failing in the back corner of your garden. Bees don't shout, they just weaken. Then there's the physical side. A full honey super can weigh as much as a medium suitcase. You might be lifting that from knee height to chest height, sometimes in hot weather, in a bee suit, with gloves on. Even brood boxes can be heavy when the colony is strong. If you have back issues or you struggle with lifting, you'll need to plan around that. Use more smaller boxes, get help on heavy days, or accept that some parts of the work will be hard. Now the mental part. Ask yourself this. How do you react when things aren't fully under your control? Because in beekeeping, they never are. You can't see the queen most of the time. You can't count every mite. You can't control the weather or the nectar flow. You can make informed decisions, but they're always under uncertainty. If you need everything to be neat, predictable, and fully under your control, standing over an open hive with thousands of insects might feel more like torture than therapy. Next, we need to talk about your motivation. If your only reason for starting is free honey, you're going to be disappointed fast. In many places, beginners get little or no harvest in year 1, because the bees need most of that food to survive their first winter. A stronger reason might be, you want to help pollinators and understand them deeply. You enjoy learning about living systems and natural cycles. You're okay treating year 1 as tuition. You're paying in time and money to learn a skill that pays off in later years. So here's a simple test you can use right now. If I told you that you might spend the first year learning, inspecting, managing pests, and maybe get 0 jars of honey, but you would end that year with a healthy colony and real confidence, would you still want to do it? If your answer is yes, you're much closer to the right mindset than someone who only wants cheap honey. Let's add one more layer, emotional resilience. Imagine this. You've done your best, you've followed advice, and you still lose a hive over winter. It happens to new beekeepers all the time. Are you the kind of person who says, I failed, I'm done, or the kind who says, okay, what happened, what can I learn, and how do I do better next time? Because at some point, you will make a decision that turns out to be wrong. The question is not will things go wrong? The real question is, do I have the patience to keep learning when they do? So the first thing I wish I knew is this. Beekeeping isn't just buying a box and pouring in bees. It's a long-term relationship with a living super-organism that depends on you to pay attention. If that idea excites you more than it scares you, keep watching. If it only scares you, that's a sign to pause before you spend a single pound or dollar. Now let's tackle the next problem almost everyone has. Do I even have the right place for bees? This is where a lot of beekeeping for beginners advice stays too shallow. People say, you just need some space in the garden. That's not enough. The real question is your space safe and suitable for both bees and people? You do not need a big farm. A small backyard in the UK, a narrow side yard in the USA, even some urban gardens can work. What matters is how you use that space. Here's what you actually need to think about. Flight path. Bees leave the hive in a straight line at head height if there's nothing in front of them. If your entrance points at a path, a back door, or your neighbor's patio, you're creating a constant stream of bees right where people walk. That's asking for stings and complaints. Place the hive so the entrance faces a fence, hedge, or wall a couple of meters away. That forces bees to fly up and over human head height quickly. Sun and shelter. Ideally, your hive gets morning sun to warm the bees and get them flying, with some protection from strong wind. A cold, shady, damp corner will slow the colony and increase stress. A fully exposed, baking spot can overheat the hive in hot climates. You want bright but not brutal. Distance from high traffic areas. If you have kids, pets, or a frequently used path, don't put the hive right next to those. Even calm bees can become defensive if someone is constantly bumping the hive, mowing right around it, or slamming a gate beside it. A few extra meters and a solid visual barrier can turn a risky setup into a calm one. Now, another common fear. What if I live in a cold, rainy, or windy place? Can I still keep bees? You can, but the hive setup and your management change. In windy or exposed sites, bees burn more energy just to stay warm. That means, you'll need to pay more attention to winter stores so they don't starve. You might add windbreaks, hedges, fences, or purpose-built screens, to cut direct wind. In very wet climates, you must keep the hive off the ground and make sure water doesn't pool under or around it. On the other side, if you're in a hot, dry area, your problem shifts. Overheating and dehydration. Now you're thinking about shade in the hottest part of the day, ventilation, and a reliable water source that keeps bees away from your neighbor's pool or birdbath. Here's the deeper issue behind all of this. Your bees can't move the hive. They're stuck with whatever decision you make on day one. If you put them in a bad spot, too close to people, too damp, too exposed, you're building stress into the colony from the start. Stress in bees shows up later as aggression, disease, and sometimes absconding, the whole colony leaving. So before you buy gear, before you order bees, look at your space and ask yourself 3 problems in a row. If I were a bee, is this a safe, dry, warm enough spot to live all year? If I were my neighbor, would this placement annoy me or put me at risk? If I were my future, busier self, can I reach this hive easily to inspect it regularly? If you can't honestly say yes to all 3, you don't need to give up on beekeeping. You just need to fix the space first, with fences, screens, hive stands, or even a different location, before you bring home thousands of stinging insects that depend on your decisions. In the next part of the video, we'll go one level deeper into something most beginners never think about until it's too late. Laws, neighbors, and what actually happens the first time someone gets stung and blames your hive. Now let's talk about something most beekeeping for beginners videos skip. Rules, neighbors, and safety. This is where a lot of people get into trouble, not because they're bad beekeepers, but because they didn't prepare. Here's the first hard question. What legal rules or permissions do I need to keep bees where I live? You can't just drop a hive anywhere and hope for the best. In many places, you may need to register your hives with a government body or local authority. Some areas set limits on how many colonies you can keep in a garden. Others require certain distances from property lines, roads, or public paths. If you're in a city, there might be extra rules about roof hives, shared spaces, or safety plans in apartment blocks. So your first action step is simple but serious. Before you buy gear, search for local beekeeping regulations or call your local council or equivalent. Ask 3 direct questions. Is beekeeping allowed in my area? Do I need to register my hives? Are there any distance or neighbor rules I must follow? If you skip this, you create a big problem. A neighbor complains, an inspector shows up, and you may be forced to move or even give up your bees. That's painful for you and stressful for the colony. Next problem. Where is the best place to put a hive so I don't cause problems for my family or neighbors? You're not just placing a box, you're placing a flight path. Bees will fly in and out all day in good weather. If that entrance points straight at your neighbor's washing line or your kid's football area, you're setting up daily conflict. Even calm bees can get defensive if someone is always moving in front of the entrance, especially in bad weather or during nectar dearths. To avoid that, I always think in 3 layers: sight, distance, and height. Sight. Can neighbors see the hive easily? If yes, can you hide it with a fence, hedge, or trellis so they see plants, not boxes full of bees? Distance. Is there at least a few meters between the hive and any place where people regularly stand, sit, or walk? Even small gardens can often angle the hive so the busy area is not right in front of the entrance. Height. Is there a barrier, like a fence or wall, a couple of meters away so bees have to fly up and over? That alone reduces bee in the face moments dramatically. Now we need to address stings and safety. Here's the truth. If you keep bees long enough, you will get stung. Your family may get stung at some point. A neighbor might too. That doesn't mean beekeeping is reckless, but it means you must prepare like a responsible beekeeper, not like someone buying a new garden toy. Ask yourself this problem out loud. How risky are bee stings for me, my family, or my neighbors? If you already know someone in your household has a serious venom allergy, you need to talk to a doctor before you even consider a hive. They may say it's not a good idea, or they may help you put a strong safety plan in place. If you don't know, you still need to know the signs of a serious reaction: trouble breathing, swelling of the face or throat, feeling faint, or rapid heartbeat soon after a sting. That's not just a sting, that's an emergency. So build a basic emergency plan now, before bees arrive. Everyone in the home knows what to do if someone reacts badly to a sting. You know who to call and where the nearest emergency care is. If a doctor recommends an epinephrine auto-injector, you keep it accessible and everyone knows where it is. On top of this medical side, you reduce sting risk by how you work your bees. You wear a proper veil every time, especially in the first years. Gloves stay on until you're truly confident without them. You avoid inspections when storms are coming, when it's very windy, or when it's late in the day and bees are grumpy. You never mow or trim right up against the hive entrance with the hive open. And you don't invite a crowd of curious neighbors to stand right next to the hive on inspection day. Here's a real life pattern I've seen over and over. Someone starts beekeeping, hides the hive behind a shed, doesn't tell the neighbors, and does quick, rushed inspections in shorts and no veil. First bad weather day, bees are on edge, someone gets stung near the fence, and suddenly there's a dangerous hive next door. That's not a bee problem, that's a planning problem. So before you move on, I want you to look at your situation and ask 3 hard questions. Do I fully understand the rules where I live? If my neighbor's child gets stung in the garden, can I honestly say I placed my hive in the safest, smartest spot I could? If someone in my family has a serious reaction, do we know exactly what to do? If the answer to any of those is I'm not sure, that's your homework before you spend any money. In the next part, we'll go into something just as practical. How much this really costs, how much time you'll spend, and why getting that wrong is one of the easiest ways to burn out in your first year. If you get this wrong, you either quit from burnout or you cut corners that hurt your bees. For cost, let's talk real numbers, not vague "it depends." In many parts of the UK, a realistic startup for one hive, hive hardware, a nuke of bees, a decent suit, smoker, hive tool, frames, and basic extras, often lands somewhere around £680 to £800 if you buy solid, mid-range gear. That's not a guess. Recent breakdowns from UK suppliers show a nuke at about £300 to £330, a full hive around £200, a suit £100 to £160, plus tools and small items on top. Annual running costs later, feed, treatments, replacements, are much lower, often around £100 to £120 per hive. In the USA, many beginners can get started for roughly $400 to $450 for one hive, tools, suit, bees, and basic feed, if they shop smart and keep it simple. Again, that's based on recent itemized estimates, not old numbers. So here's the problem you must face. Are you ready to invest that kind of money in year 1, before you know if you'll even get honey? If the honest answer is no, it's better to wait and learn more than to cheap out and buy poor gear or bees from random sources. Cheap suits rip, bad woodenware warps, poor quality bees can be aggressive or sick. Now let's talk about time. Research and real-world beekeeper reports suggest that for one hive, you'll spend around 25 to 35 hours a year directly on hive work, with more concentrated in spring and summer. But that's for someone who already knows what they're doing. In your first year, you should plan on 3 to 4 hours a week when you include inspections, preparing feed, watching training, reading, and asking questions. So ask yourself, can I honestly carve out a few hours most weeks in spring and early summer for the next couple of years? What will I stop doing to make time for this? If you can't answer that, you risk creating a hive you slowly ignore. Bees left unchecked through swarm season or varroa season don't just carry on. They crash. Next, how do you actually learn this without drowning in random videos? You might be wondering, do I really need a course, or can I learn from YouTube and books only? You can learn a lot from YouTube and books. You're doing that right now. But here's the catch. Algorithms reward entertaining content, not necessarily the boring but vital parts like disease checks, varroa monitoring, or winter risk planning. That means you can watch hours of fun beekeeping and still not know how to spot a failing queen. A strong path looks like this. Start with a structured beginner resource. A good Beekeeping 101 book or an organized online course that walks you through bee biology, seasonal tasks, pests, and basic treatments in order. Join a local beekeeping association. They usually offer low-cost beginner courses, mentors, and supervised apiary visits, which are gold because you see real hives, not just perfect YouTube edits. Use YouTube as a supplement, not your only teacher. Look for creators in a similar climate to yours and treat each video as a case study, not a complete education. Here's another hard question. How long until I'm actually competent? Most people need at least 2 full seasons to see enough of the cycle: swarm control, dearth, feeding, wintering, spring buildup, and to make decisions without guessing. That doesn't mean you'll be lost for 2 years, but it does mean you must think in years, not weeks. So if you're looking for a quick, low-effort hobby, beekeeping will frustrate you. If you're willing to be a student for a couple of seasons, it can become one of the most rewarding natural labs you'll ever have. Now, let's tackle gear and hive types, because this is where a lot of beginners waste money. You might be asking, what's the best hive for a beginner, Langstroth or something else, and what should I buy first? The short, practical answer. Start with whatever standard hive type most beekeepers use in your country. Very often the Langstroth, or national in some parts of the UK. Why? Because that's where you'll find the most advice, the most compatible equipment, and the easiest help when things go wrong. A standard hive setup includes a bottom board, 1 or 2 brood boxes, supers for honey frames and foundation, an inner cover and an outer roof cover, a stand, and an entrance reducer. This configuration is not random. It's built to allow easy inspections, clean brood patterns, and controlled honey harvests. For protective gear, don't compromise on a proper veil and a decent jacket or suit, plus gloves and boots. A confident, calm beekeeper makes fewer mistakes and hurts fewer bees. Thin, cheap suits that tear or leak bees into the veil are not worth the stress. For tools, you truly only need a smoke or a hive tool, a simple feeder suitable for your hive style. Everything else, the fancy frame grips, specialty brushes, multiple styles of feeders, expensive extractors, is optional at the start. Many beginners buy too many gadgets and then realize they use the same 3 items every visit. So here's the problem to solve. What is a waste of money right now? In your first year, anything that doesn't directly improve safety, inspection, feeding, or basic management is probably not essential. You can borrow an extractor from a club or another beekeeper. You don't need a dozen different boxes in different sizes. Stick to one standard and learn how to use it well. Next, how many hives should you start with, and what kind of bees should you buy? If you ask experienced beekeepers, you'll hear a common answer. Start with 2 hives, not 1. That sounds like more work, but it actually makes your life easier. With 2 colonies, you can compare strength, behavior, and brood patterns. If one is weak or queenless, you can donate brood or resources from the stronger hive. With only 1 hive, you can't compare, and you have no backup. The trade-off is cost. 2 hives roughly double your bee and hardware cost. So your problem becomes, do I want a cheaper start, or a safer learning curve? There's no one right answer, but you should choose on purpose, not by accident. For bee sources, most beginners choose between a package, a box of loose bees and a caged queen. A nucleus colony, nuke, a small, established colony with brood, food, and a laying queen on several frames. Nucs cost more, but they give you a head start because the queen is already accepted and laying, and the bees have brood at different stages. That's usually more forgiving for a beginner than shaking a package into an empty box and hoping everything works. Many experienced beekeepers now recommend nucs as the best first step, especially in temperate climates. You also want local or regionally adapted bees if possible. They're used to your winters, your nectar flow, and your local pests. That gives you a better baseline than importing genetics that evolve under very different conditions. When should you order? Often months before the season. In many areas, that means late winter for a spring delivery. If you wait until the weather looks nice, good bees are often sold out. Let's move to the first week with bees, inspections, and not killing your queen. Here's a big fear. What should I do in the first week so I don't mess it up? Installation day depends on whether you have a package or a nuke, but the principles are similar. You install them into prepared equipment. You ensure they have enough frames, proper spacing, and ideally some feed if forage is poor. Then you let them settle. In the first few days, your main job is not to keep opening the hive every few hours. Bees need stability to organize brood, comb, and foragers. With packages, you'll check that the queen has been released from her cage after a few days. With nucs, you'll check within about a week that you see eggs and very young larvae, which tells you the queen is laying. How you inspect matters. To avoid harming bees or the queen, use smoke lightly at the entrance and under the lid. Wait a moment, then open. Lift frames straight up and out, keeping them over the hive in case the queen is on them. Don't crush bees by pushing frames together too hard. Slide them into place gently. You might be asking, how often should I open the hive without stressing the bees? A common guideline is every 7 to 10 days during the main season, when colonies are growing fast and swarm risk is high. That's often enough to catch major problems and swarm signs, but not so often that you disturb them daily. In dearth periods or bad weather, you may go a little longer, but as a beginner, you're safer leaning toward the 7 to 10 day rhythm. Stress comes from rough handling, constant disturbance, and poor timing. If you only open the hive on cold, windy days, slam boxes, or crack open the brood nest every few days just to look, you can set the colony back. Calm, regular, respectful inspections are the goal. Now we come to the climax. The hidden challenges, varroa, disease, swarms, and losses. This is the part that decides whether your bees live into year 2. The big unseen problem is varroa mites. These are tiny parasites that feed on bees and brood and spread viruses. Large field studies have shown that varroa plus viruses account for a huge share, around 70% of colony losses in some analyses. International surveys across dozens of countries also confirm that varroa is one of the main risk factors linked to winter losses. If you ignore varroa, you're basically choosing slow collapse. As a beginner, you don't need to become a scientist, but you do need a simple, non-negotiable plan. Learn one monitoring method, like an alcohol wash or sugar roll, to measure mites per 100 bees. Start checking soon after the colony is established, and repeat on a schedule through the season. Know the action threshold in your region, often around 2 to 3 mites per 100 bees mid-season, lower going into autumn. Above that, you treat. You don't wait and see. If you don't monitor, you're flying blind. If you only treat when the colony looks sick, you're usually too late. On top of varroa, there are other threats. Starvation. Bees run out of food during bad weather or late winter. Robbing. Strong colonies or wasps steal honey from weaker hives. Wax moths and small hive beetles, where present, these often exploit already weak or dead colonies. Then there's swarming, a strong, crowded colony with limited space and lots of young bees. Will try to reproduce by swarming. That means half your bees and often your queen fly away, usually in spring or early summer. Swarming isn't always a failure, but uncontrolled swarming can weaken your hive and upset neighbors. To lower swarm risk, give bees enough space by adding boxes before the brood nest is packed. Keep to your inspection schedule and learn to recognize queen cells early. Now, you might be wondering, what if I do all this and I still lose a hive? It happens. Even with good management, colony losses are a normal part of beekeeping worldwide. Large monitoring projects like the COLOSS network show winter losses vary a lot by country and year, but losses are significant enough that they're considered a serious issue globally. As a beginner, your first loss will hurt, but it only becomes a total failure if you don't learn from it. Take notes, look back, ask mentors for help understanding what went wrong. Was it varroa, starvation, a failing queen? That analysis is what turns pain into experience. Finally, let's talk about honey, mistakes, and what I'd do differently if I were starting beekeeping for beginners all over again. You might be clinging to this question: will I get honey in my first year? It's possible, yes, but in many climates, especially in cooler areas like much of the UK, relying on a big first-year harvest is risky. If you take too much honey and winter turns harsh, your bees can starve. In your first season, the smarter mindset is, if I get any honey, it's a bonus, not a guarantee. When you do harvest, you want frames that are mostly or fully capped. That indicates lower moisture and helps prevent fermentation. If you have only a few frames, a simple crush and strain method, breaking comb into a strainer and letting honey drip through, is enough. You don't need to buy an extractor in year one. Now, the most common beginner mistakes I see, and that I made myself: starting bees before learning the basics of biology, seasons, and varroa. Buying too much or the wrong gear, then not having money left for essentials like good bees and treatments. Skipping inspections for weeks, then being surprised by swarms or dead brood. Ignoring varroa until the colony is already heavily infested. Taking too much honey too soon, leaving bees short on food going into winter. If I were starting again today, here's what I would do differently. I'd join a local association before ordering bees and ask them what works in my area. I'd start with 2 hives that use the same standard equipment, so I can share resources and compare. I'd set a monitoring schedule for varroa from day 1 and treat based on numbers, not feelings. I'd commit to a specific inspection rhythm and block it in my calendar like any other appointment. And I'd measure success in year 1 not by honey jars, but by seeing both colonies alive and reasonably strong the following spring. That leads to your last question: can I learn everything I need from this one video? No. And that's not a failure of the video, it's the nature of beekeeping. This video can give you the map, the big decisions, the real costs, the hidden dangers, and the mindset that keeps bees alive. But skills like spotting eggs, reading brood patterns, judging colony mood, and reacting to weather and nectar flows develop through time, repetition, and guided practice. So here's how I'd use this video if I were you. Use it to decide if beekeeping for beginners is truly right for your life, space, and budget. Use it to avoid the 10 biggest mistakes I made. Then use a playlist of deeper videos on equipment, inspections, varroa, and seasonal care, plus local courses and mentors, to turn this map into real-world experience. If you're still here, it means you're serious. That alone puts you ahead of a lot of people who just want the honey photo.